Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new post-commentary duel video. Today we've got pure Mekk Knights on the left versus Photon Galaxy on the right. I'm piloting the Photon deck. Of course, my brother piloting the pure Mekk Knight deck. And I think this is the first time we've had this deck featured on here, so this should be a pretty interesting matchup. Sort of, you guys get to see the deck in action. Now, keep in mind, there's still a lot I want to do to this deck. I haven't had nearly enough time to test it as I would like. Hopefully that will change in the future. But real quick, as always, shout out to our lovely sponsor, Imperium Duelists. Go ahead and check them out in the description below. They make playmats, sleeves, all sorts of card gaming accessories like this beautiful playmat you see here and these awesome sleeves that we're rocking. They also have a new tour guide playmat, cloth playmat featuring tour guide and bead cop of the underworld, actually designed by MSTTV himself. Did a fantastic job on it. Check it out. You get it for 10% off with that code in the description if you'd like. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get into the commentary here. Like I said, this is the first time that Mekk Knights have been featured in a duel. I've played this deck quite a bit on stream, and I think for me the one thing I'm struggling with is ratios. As I go ahead and get into my play here, going into Soulflare Dragon to add back a Photon or Galaxy monster, adding back the Galaxy Eyes. But as I was saying, the one thing I was struggling with lately is just finding like correct ratios, Mekk Knight ratios, whether or not I want to play additional names such as green and orange, or if I want to just add, like, just go overboard with it and add a ton of going second options. Like, I'm already playing cards like Pankratops and Gamma Seal, and I'm also throwing in Droll Lockbird Sense, and I just want to continue to mess with ratios because I think the deck does have a very good shot at being a decent tier 2 contender. I also added instant fusions as well, as you can see, for a purpose like this. So instant fusion brings out Thousand Eyes Restrict, attempts to steal the number 90, of course. The only negation I was able to end on didn't quite get to end on a good field. My bad. Can't get my words correctly this evening. Yeah, so only thing he has to worry about now is sort of the disruption from Soulflare, which of course he can discard a Photon or Galaxy card, up to 2 Photon or Galaxy cards, I should say 2 actually. But if you have just Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, you can just discard that and destroy a special summon monster during your opponent's main phase. Soulflare, a pretty good card. I think it's definitely underrated and how good it is, and I think Photon Galaxy is also very underrated and how good it can also be. And so here you see the invoked, or not the invoked Mekk Knight player, but the pure Mekk Knight player, my brother piloting the Mekk Knight deck today. Getting started with Rescue Rabbit after going through the instant fusion. So Rescue Rabbit is sort of like the alternative engine I'm running in place of the Brilliant Fusion engine, mainly because I just think the Rescue Rabbit engine and the Brilliant Fusion engine sort of do the same thing. At the end of the day, they just put monsters on board. They give you link fodder. Rescue Rabbit gives you a normal summon, you know, same sort of way. You know, the Brilliant Fusion engine will work. Yes, there's bricky engine requirements sort of for both options. So I think they just sort of do the same at the end of the day. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on yourself. If you were running a pure Mekk Knight deck, what would you value over, or would you try to play both? I don't know. I was playing both at one time, but I just found they kind of conflicted with each other. That was the main issue. So we'll see this Sky Striker Hornet Drone token come down, of course, for Kagari adding it back. Also there, basically, for Mekk Knights, for this build particularly, I tried to give the deck as many ways to help it going first as possible. Instant Fusion can create a column, or at least help you create a column turn 1 by giving you something in your extra monster zone pretty much for free. Same thing with Hornet Drones. You can go into Kagari with it and then add back the Hornet Drones, immediately set it, and you have a free 1-card column right there. So what happened there is he went into battle phase, and before he left main phase, I activate Soulflare Dragon to pitch Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon to destroy his Mekk Knight of the Morningstar, which could have just crashed into my Soul Flare Dragon, clearing it off the field completely, since it is not in the same column as it. And of course, we know that Morningstar has that sort of passive ability, where if any Mekk Knight attacks another monster that it's not in the same column with, it destroys it. Well, it doesn't destroy, it's not like Armades, but you don't take any battle damage, and they aren't destroyed by battle. It'd be pretty powerful if it did act sort of like an Armades. So Red Moon gets summoned to the column that Vanisher's in, and he will destroy that using its effect, banishing Mekk Knight of Brahm. Could have done that in the other column where number 90 is, yeah, but number 90 does have a Photon card underneath it, so he cannot be destroyed by card effects. That's just sort of one of the big issues he has to deal with right now. Basically, I have 3 cards, or 3 to 4 cards in hand, and I've got 3 cards on field, one of which has 3k defense and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that is something that's going to be sort of a roadblock for most decks to get around. Mekk Knight does have an issue inherently of just not being able to beat over anything that's really high attack, and if those things have built-in protection, you know, Red Moon isn't going to do you a whole lot. So he goes into another Morningstar here, grabs Succession by discarding World Legacy's Memory. That card isn't going to do him a whole lot of good right now, and Succession can help him push for a little more damage. He has a couple options here. You can go into Boral Sword and then use the Succession to bring back a card like Indigo Eclipse for more damage. But at that point, he runs into the number 90, steals the attack from it, kills that, and then Indigo could attack over the Soul Flare, and then Boral Sword could attack again. But Boral Sword really can't do a whole lot to any of the plays I planned, or I would be making next turn anyways. So basically just contemplating what to do here. Obviously, has plenty of options. Didn't get to go into the battle phase earlier because he never left the end phase, because I did have a response, or never left the main phase, I should say, because I did have a response. So going into the extra deck here for a Link 4 is going to be Borlow Dragon, because it can, I think it's a little better in this situation, strictly because it cannot be targeted by monster effects, which forces me to have to go into a really, really high attack monster. We'll see the Legacy Succession get burned to summon out Indigo. Indigo doesn't end up running over the Galaxy Soldier, I believe. So he does attack with Boral Sword, or Borload. Borload steals number 90. And yeah, so he decides to attack over Soul Flare with Indigo instead of attacking over the Galaxy Soldier. Now here, he could have left it till the end of my next turn to give himself a negation. Instead, linking it away, which isn't a bad idea either, for a Cerberus. And I haven't mentioned this, but this is one of the first times he's played pure Mekk Knight, but luckily he's got some experience with Mekk Knight, playing Invoked Mekk Knight quite a bit. And if you're going to ask me which one I think is better, Invoked Mekk Knight or pure Mekk Knight, I'd probably say Invoked Mekk Knight because you get a little something extra with it. But if anybody wanted to try something different, maybe play a bit of a cheaper deck to build, because I definitely think it's a lot cheaper, including all the reprints and stuff. It's definitely a fun, enjoyable deck with a bit of a different play style. Definitely a going second deck though, for sure. So here's the thing, even if he did keep the number 90 on his field during my turn, I still am able to make the plays I need to make, I should say. So what do I mean by this? So Soul Flare comes out, I go for Soul Flare, activate his effect to add back a card. Now he could have possibly negated this, but adding back the Galaxy Eyes isn't too big of a deal, mainly because I believe I already had another light monster in hand, in which I could have discarded for and gotten my search of Galaxy Knight. If he would have negated the Galaxy Soldier, I still am able to go ahead and grab back a Galaxy Knight from grave instead, having foreseen that play. So basically what I'm trying to say is I had more plays than he would have had for negations. is basically what that comes down to. I'm basically able to go into Pleiades, and if you would have saved the negation for a Galaxy Knight, I would have just been able to bounce the number 90 back to my extra deck. So yeah, arguably he should have left the number 90. I just think he might have been confused on when the card that Borreload Seals gets sent to the extra deck. So there might have been a little bit of confusion there. That happens during the next end phase, not that current end phase. But like I said, I definitely had more plays to make than one negation would have been able to stop. So hopefully that clears some things up. So we head into game 2 here. Galaxy Soldier, discarding Galaxy Wizard, adding looks like another copy of Soldier, and then Photon Orbital coming down to add Vanisher. Vanisher coming down, and we'll add a copy of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Now, speaking a little bit on Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, speaking a little bit on the deck, I should say, I haven't changed my build pretty much at all since the last profile. I played it here and there on stream, not quite a bit. One of the major changes I made in the last profile was cutting the Cyber Dragon Infinity package for the Pleiades package, because I just think at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference. It's a disruption either way, and it just gives you one extra slot in the extra deck, which can be very, very helpful when you want to play cards like 107, Cypher Dragon, Falgran, things that are very, very useful to play over just, you know, the Nova and then the Infinity. So that's sort of why I went with it, because I just don't think that at the end of the day it's just going to make a huge difference whether you play Pleiades or Infinity. They both sort of get the job done at the end of the day as far as providing interruptions for your opponent to deal with. Soul Charge, 4/3, bringing back a Soldier, a Orbital, and a Wizard, allowing me to make the Blast Dragon and Pleiades, both underneath, of course, the Galaxy Eye Soulflare Dragon. So now my Pleiades and my Soulflare Dragon cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and if he does anything, tries to do anything to the Photon Blast Dragon, he will chain its effect to bring out the Galaxy Eyes that is in my graveyard, or if I put one there via Soul Flare by discarding it for its effect. So not the greatest ending field. I mean, it's pretty good. If I would have had Photon Orbital equipped to the Blast Dragon, would have been even better. But one thing I wanted to say earlier about this deck, and I sort of got sidetracked, was I just don't think there's anything that I could possibly change about the deck other than doing a complete overhaul and playing it in like a completely different style, sort of looking at it at a completely different direction. But right now I think the deck is in a position where it just does not need to be changed. I'm very, very happy with how it plays, as the Gamma Seal completely gets rid of Pleiades, and of course Cyber Dragon Infinity would have met the same fate. It's not like he's immune to Gamma Seal, but that's the thing. I think the deck is in a pretty solid state for me. The only thing I want now is support. I want Photon Advancer to come out as soon as possible, and I would love a Photon Galaxy Rank 5. If you guys, any of you Photon Galaxy fans, in the comments, if you guys have any suggestions of what you would like a Photon or a Galaxy or Photon Galaxy Rank 5 to be, what would you like it to do? Leave it down in the comment sections. I'm pretty curious to hear what you guys would have to say about that. I remember one of my Twitch chat, one of my Twitch followers, one of the Twitch chatters, avid Twitch chatter, by the name of Dimension Warrior, you may be watching this video. He had a pretty good idea for it, and it was maybe it allows you to get an additional normal summon of a Photon or a Galaxy monster. That would be pretty cool. If that was an effect, that would be really, really awesome. And maybe it had just like low attack and really high defense or something, or just 2k even. That would be a really cool idea. So if you guys have any ideas of your own of how a rank 5 Galaxy Photon monster, how that could look like, what its effect might be, its stats, I would love to hear your suggestions, because I think that's one thing the deck is really, really missing at the end of the day. So he's going to go ahead and use Purple Nightfall here, or I believe he attempted to go into battle phase, and at the same thing, end of main phase, I go ahead and use Soul Flare to try to destroy it. He chains, grabs Blue Sky, gets his double search, and sort of puts him where he wants to be. As we saw that World Legacy's Memory bringing out that Indigo Eclipse, going to go into a Link 2. Should be underneath the clause where you cannot special summon anything other than Mekk Knight monsters for the rest of the turn, because of the memory. Hopefully that clause does get abided by. Sometimes that does get forgotten. So yeah, he goes and summons Red Moon in that zone, but Blast Dragon, being as good of a card as it is, protects all monsters with 2,000 or more attack, including Gamma Seal at this point. So he links up into Mekk Knight Spectrum Supreme, which is a monster Link 3 that requires just basically 2+ Mekk Knight monsters. Can't use any other non-Mekk Knight monsters for it, but basically if there's nothing in its column, it can attack directly, and if it doesn't have anything, if it isn't pointing to anything, it cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Very, very strong card. Does go into battle phase, does try to get rid of the Blast Dragon. I do have to chain it on attack declaration to bring out the Galaxy Eyes. I don't know if Blast Dragon says main phase. If it was main phase, it must have done it in end of main phase again before going into battle phase, or just done it in response to attack declaration, because I do want to get that level 8 on board, because if anything, if he doesn't get rid of these 2 other level 8s on my field, that's a free rank 8 for me next turn. So it's sort of now or never what he's going to decide to do. Checking the top card of his deck, really just seeing if it's worth to keep playing out at this point. Like I said, Mekk Knights is one of those decks that I feel like it just takes a lot of firepower going into it. He does summon out Indigo there a bit late, but deciding it's the proper thing to do just to clear that Gamma Seal off in the battle phase, just so I don't have a free level 8 sitting there to work with. But I think Pure Mekk's a good deck. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's bad. I don't think it's tier 1. I don't think it has that type of capability. If you're going to play something competitively, if you're going to go to a YCS and spend that time and money to go to a tournament or a regional, locals 100% fine. But if you're investing, you're just asking me a serious question like, hey, what would you recommend, Pure Mekk or Invoked Mekk? I'd say Invoked Mekk or any other hybrid of the two. But Pure Mekk Knight, it's one of those decks like you want to play like Impermanence, you want to play Hand Traps, you want to play Gamma Seals, Pankratops, like all these things that give you an edge going second, because the Mekk Knight engine in of itself is so small that you have so much other room to work with, and that of course can create bricks, but you know, such is life. You know, you can't have the best of both worlds all the time. You're gonna have a little bit of issues here and there, but I do like the deck, and hopefully I will be able to get to test it more and innovate it a bit more, and maybe get an updated profile sometime soon. So he does go and bring back Purple Nightfall here. I'm just reading its effect to make sure. I can't remember what I was reading for, if there's some sort of clause on it that it says you can or cannot do something. I believe it's regarding the effect of sending a Mekk Knight, or sending a card in its column to the grave, to special summon a Mekk Knight from your deck in defense. I believe he is doing that now to summon out Red Moon, which is pretty nice. That's a very, very nice fact that Spectrum Supreme has, where you can just tutor out any Mekk Knight by sending any card in its column you control. I believe it has to be in a column that you control. And he does summon that out to clear Galaxy Eyes off the field, because Galaxy Eyes is going to be a pretty big problem. He'll swing over the Soul Flare for 1,000, and he'll pass it over to me, I believe, next. But he did have to sacrifice that Purple Nightfall there, which is pretty unfortunate, because the Purple Nightfall is a very, very vital card to the deck. Obviously, having it recur back to your field every standby phase is very, very important. He's the highest attack monster in the deck as far as Mekk Knights are concerned. So he does play a very, very important role in keeping the engine running, as you would expect. So it's my turn now. I have Photon Sanctuary. 2 tokens come down. We go right into Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon on summon. We'll activate its effect to add back a Photon or Galaxy monster. And I believe I have like Soldier, Wizard, Vanisher, and Dragon Engrave. I don't really have the greatest options, but I grab Orbital here, and I'm making an interesting play, sort of. Zero out Galaxy Eyes, equip Orbital to Soul Flare, unequip it to Search, and I grab Galaxy Knight here, I believe, to make sort of like a makeshift rank 8 play. I could have just done it in a different fashion, where I just use Orbital to equip the Soul Flare to Search again. I'm not sure why I did this way. There might have been some reason, but I just basically need to get into a rank 8 that I can, you know, push for some pressure. And I believe what I end up doing is doing the old double clear with what galaxies can do. It's a very nice little package to have in the extra deck. Basically, you summon any rank 8 galaxy or photon. I choose Cypher Dragon here, and then over top of it, I put full armor to clear the Spectrum Supreme. And now Spectrum Supreme, of course, have something pointing to it, so it can be destroyed by card effect. And I use Cypher Dragon to detach again to clear the Red Moon, swinging for 5,200. Scoops it up there. Yeah, and that's going to be the match. Photon Galaxy taking it 2-0. So I hope you guys enjoyed this matchup. Like I said, I've got plans for videos. Hopefully I can get them made up tonight. I still got a couple other duels to edit. Like I said, I might be able to record at locals again very soon. I just got to talk to a friend of mine to get some information on that. So looking forward to that. And as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. I just wanted to take this time to thank you. Hope you guys are enjoying your holidays and things like that. Almost 2019, pretty exciting. We've come a long way this year. As always, yeah, much love though. I just want to show some support to you guys. You show so much support to me. Really thankful for every single subscriber on this channel. Very thankful, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. If you have any suggestions for anything, again, feel free to let me know in the comments of what current videos I'm making that you'd like to see, video suggestions for current series and things like that, or any topics you may want me to cover, things like that. And I know there might not be that many people listening at this point as we are at the end of the video, but if you still are, let me know. I appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Much love. As always, guys, we're gonna kill signing out. We'll see ya in the next one.